A single drop of blood has always been a symbol of truth in medicine. It reveals what the body hides: diseases, secrets, futures. In 2003, one woman claimed this single drop could reveal everything: faster, cheaper, and without pain. The world wanted to believe her. Her name was Elizabeth Holmes. Her promise was simple, elegant, and impossible. Hundreds of medical tests from just a few drops of blood. No needles, no waiting, no fear. Silicon Valley crowned her a visionary. Forbes called her the youngest self-made female billionaire. Investors saw the next Steve Jobs, not because of what she built, but because of how confidently she spoke. Her voice was unusually deep. Her sentences, deliberate. Nothing about her felt accidental. Every gesture was engineered to project certainty, even when certainty did not exist. But this story didn't begin on a stage. It began at Stanford University, where an 18-year-old student believed she could outthink decades of medical science. Holmes wasn't studying medicine. She was studying chemical engineering. Her early ideas were vague, untested, and deeply flawed. But they shared one dangerous trait: ambition without limits. She didn't understand diagnostics. She didn't understand blood chemistry. But she understood something else very well: how to sell a vision before it existed. In 2003, she dropped out of Stanford. Not because the science worked, but because the pitch did. Theranos was born not from evidence, but from belief. Investors didn't ask the right questions. The technology was secret. The data was confidential. The demos were restricted. Red flags disguised as innovation. And this is where the story quietly changes. Because somewhere between optimism and deception, a line was crossed. And once crossed, there was no turning back. Theranos claimed its technology could run hundreds of tests on microscopic blood samples. But inside the lab, the machines didn't work. Not reliably, not accurately, and sometimes not at all. The Edison machine was the heart of Theranos. It was also its greatest weakness. Results were inconsistent. Samples were diluted, errors were common, and quietly ignored. Employees noticed results that made no medical sense. Potassium levels impossibly high. Cancer markers that vanished overnight. These were not anomalies. They were warnings. Holmes didn't panic. She reframed. She told employees that doubt was disloyalty, and secrecy was survival. Every employee signed aggressive non-disclosure agreements, not to protect innovation, but to silence questions. At Theranos, failure was never technical. It was personal. If the machine failed, it was your fault for not believing hard enough. The board wasn't made of scientists, it was made of power. Former secretaries of state, military generals, people impressed by confidence, not data. Then came the deal that changed everything. Walgreens agreed to roll out Theranos testing centers nationwide without fully validating the technology. Real patients began using Theranos tests, and for the first time, the consequences were no longer theoretical. Some patients were told they were healthy when they weren't. Others were told they were sick when they weren't. This was no longer a startup exaggeration. It was medical harm. Inside Theranos, fear became the dominant culture. Employees stopped asking questions, not because they found answers, but because they learned the cost of curiosity. Some employees quit quietly. Others stayed, convincing themselves the problems would be fixed. A few realized something worse. The problems were being hidden on purpose. Emails documented failures, test inaccuracies, patient risks. These messages existed, but they were buried under layers of legal fear. One employee couldn't ignore it. Tyler Schultz, the grandson of a Theranos board member, saw data that didn't just look wrong, it looked dangerous. Reporting concerns internally went nowhere, So he did something unthinkable in Silicon Valley. He spoke to regulators. Theranos responded not with fixes, but with force. Lawyers, threats, surveillance. Silence became policy. Employees believed they were being followed, phones monitored, careers threatened. The message was clear: speak up and you will be destroyed. But secrets rot, and eventually they smell. A reporter named John Carreyrou began asking questions Theranos couldn't control. Sources whispered, documents leaked, stories aligned. What emerged wasn't innovation. It was deception built layer by layer. For years, Elizabeth Holmes controlled the narrative. But now, someone else was about to tell her story, with facts she could not bury. In October 2015, the Wall Street Journal published a story that changed everything. It didn't speculate, it documented. The article revealed what Theranos tried to hide. Most blood tests were not run on Theranos machines at all, but on traditional lab equipment. The technology never worked. Not secretly, not occasionally. It simply didn't work. Holmes denied everything. Calm, confident. She blamed disgruntled employees. She blamed misunderstanding. She blamed time. This was her greatest skill. Not invention, but persuasion. Even now, she believed she could out-talk reality. Then, regulators arrived. The FDA entered Theranos laboratories and saw what employees had seen for years. The machines failed basic quality controls. Calibration was inconsistent. Accuracy was unproven. The illusion collapsed under inspection. Walgreens shut down Theranos testing centers. Overnight, the future vanished. Investors panicked. Patients demanded answers. The story was no longer about innovation. It was about accountability. For the first time, Elizabeth Holmes wasn't controlling the story, and the silence that followed was louder than any pitch. In 2018, the United States government charged Elizabeth Holmes with wire fraud and conspiracy. This was no longer a business failure. It was a criminal case. She entered the courtroom dressed differently now. No black turtleneck, no stage lighting, just a defendant, facing decades in prison. Prosecutors argued that Holmes knew, that she understood the technology failed, and chose to lie anyway. Emails, lab results, and testimony painted a picture not of ignorance, but intent. The defense told a different story, that Holmes was naive, that she trusted others, that she believed the technology would eventually work. Former employees testified under oath. They described pressure, fear, data manipulation, and a culture where telling the truth was punished. The jury wasn't asked to decide if Theranos failed. They were asked if Holmes lied, knowingly, to get money. When Holmes testified, she portrayed herself as misunderstood, overworked, betrayed by others. Responsibility, once again, was redirected. But belief is not a defense. Hope is not a substitute for truth. And ambition does not excuse fraud. In January 2022, Elizabeth Holmes was found guilty on multiple counts of fraud. The story she controlled for years ended with a sentence she could not rewrite. Sentencing is where myth ends. No more pitches, no more narratives, just consequences. The judge spoke of trust, how Holmes abused it, how patients relied on lies disguised as innovation. Patients described panic, confusion, and fear. False cancer scares, missed diagnoses. These were not abstract damages. These were lives. Elizabeth Holmes was sentenced to more than 11 years in federal prison. No cameras followed her inside. No speeches. Just a gate closing on a story that once promised to change the world. Theranos dissolved. The offices emptied. The machines scrapped. What remained were records and questions. How did so many powerful people believe for so long? The answer is uncomfortable. We don't reward truth in Silicon Valley. We reward confidence, speed, scale, and the promise of disruption, even when it defies reality. Real science is slow, it is boring, it is careful, and it rarely fits inside a pitch deck. Elizabeth Holmes did not invent a machine that changed medicine. She revealed something else: how easily we mistake belief for evidence and ambition for truth.